Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are talking right now with Nick Kalikas from MMAOddsBreaker.com, and we are going to give a quick rundown of the rest of the main card for UFC 195. We just got finished discussing Condit and Lawler. Nick Kalikas, we've got three pretty big underdogs here. One of them could have some decent value, right? Arlovsky right now plus 190 against Miocic. Then you got Diego Brandao plus 190 against Ortega, and then Lorenz Larkin plus 200 against Tumenov. And Larkin, of course, beat Lawler in Strikeforce in a unanimous decision. Now, at that time, it wasn't such an earth-shattering a result, but now, in retrospect, looks a little bit more impressive. One of those underdogs has got to have decent value. If you had to pick one, which one would you say would have the most value?
You know, I'm all about dogs
right.
in most cases every time. But in this card, honestly, I think the favorites will probably come through here, to be honest with you. I mean, I think the Stipe in that matchup against Arlovsky, he does have an edge. I mean, Arlovsky's very dangerous. You got to give the guy credit for the run that he's went on recently as well. But I think if he doesn't land that big punch on Stipe and put him out, Stipe will outpoint him, will decision him. He's got the better gas tank. I think he's got, again, the more diverse striking attack, and he could stay a little bit busier. So I think Stipe wins that matchup. And then the Ortega and Brandao fight, that one's a little bit tricky because, I mean, I can understand Brandao has probably the wrestling edge. You can get some takedowns along the way. I just don't trust his cardio. I don't trust his chin along the way either. And Ortega is looking like one of these prospects that continues to improve. And, I mean, his fight, even if you put the guy on his back, I mean, evident from his last fight against Tavares, he's very dangerous. I mean, not just with his submission attack. He could do some damage with his elbows and his strikes off his back. Yeah. So I think along the way, honestly, Ortega probably finds a way to win, or if it hits the scorecards, the judges will like him, even if he is placed on his back. So I lean Ortega in that fight as well. So Larkin and Tumenov is another fantastic matchup. I mean, you got two guys that, again, usually people try to take these guys down. These guys are strikers. These guys are not going to try to take each other down. They're going to stand and bang, and both of them are very talented strikers. So it's going to be competitive, and I think that you can give Larkin some advantages in this fight as an underdog. But the problem here is I trust Tumenov's chin a little bit more so than I do Larkin. I mean, he's got a granite chin. He's got really good accuracy with his strikes, and he's got a ton of power. So I think along the way, it's going to be competitive, but I do see Tumenov actually probably knocking Larkin out. So it's kind of tough for me. I mean, and like I said, I like the dogs a lot, but in this case, I think the favorites do roll through.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not suggesting at all that any of these favorites shouldn't be the favorite or shouldn't be a significant favorite. But, when you start getting favorites over minus 200, you're talking about, odds of winning that are starting to approach 70%. Just wondering if any of those are too high, but it seems like you're of the opinion that none of them really are too high.
No, I'm sure, you know what, out of these fights, we're probably going to end up seeing an upset. It's just, I just don't see any value right now. I mean, if the lines continue to climb up, yes, there'll be probably value on each dog. But where the lines are set right now and where the action's coming in, it's a little bit two-way. I mean, we're seeing some dogs get, taken as well, but the favorites are getting bet, put in parlays as well. So it's kind of staying steady. So there's not any drastic amount of action coming in at this point. Now, on fight day, with the limits increased, we will see bigger action. These lines will move a little bit more, so we will see maybe some openings to make even a favorite play or a dog play, depending on which way the lines move. But as of right now, I do think the favorites go through. So, I mean, putting a couple of these guys in parlays might not be a bad idea. Or, like I said, if it dips down a little bit, maybe even making a straight play. But I'd probably think that a dog is going to come through out of all these. I mean, there's quality underdogs. That's the thing. We mentioned it before in our last taping as well, that anytime you get a stacked card with really talented underdogs, it's kind of scary, especially to bet the favorites. But again, for me, I do find a way for every favorite to win each fight, and I think they probably will come through here.
So out of these four fights, which do you think might wind up being the biggest public favorite side? I'm thinking that Stipe might attract a big public action by fight night. I mean, he's kind of like the new breed of heavyweight fighter and successful at it. Right now, minus 230. I could easily see that one winding up being a big public side, the line going up, and the books needing Arlovsky.
Probably out of all of them that you just mentioned, I would say that's it. I mean, it's a heavyweight fight as well. Yeah. And again, I think Arlovsky is getting a little bit of respect for the moment, but I do think we'll probably see that line climb up a little bit more. And I do think he wins. So even if there's on Arlovsky here, I mean, he does have that puncher's chance always. So I think that's probably the way he wins if he does pull it off. But I mean, I don't have that much faith. So even if the line kind of climbs and you're seeing Stipe at even minus 300, I'm not sure there's really true value on the underdog there either. So if it gets wacky and you see for some reason it climb up to like 400, then of course there's going to be some value on the dog. But I do think it's Stipe's fight to win or lose.
All right, now let's quickly touch on Sims and Trujillo. Trujillo's an interesting guy. He's got a lot of power, interesting prospect. questionable fight IQ, and he's an underdog right now, plus 105 against a guy who should probably be beatable in Tony Sims. Do you think Trujillo might get it together and actually maybe have some value at plus 105?
I don't, honestly,
Okay.
because I mean, what you just mentioned right there as well. I mean, his fight IQ at times, his cardio at times. I mean, the guy has talent. I mean, he's a beast. He's strong. He can knock anybody out in the lightweight division. So I can't question that at all. I mean, he could land on Sims and put him out. He can do that to most people. But the problem is he's facing another outstanding striker, a more technical striker. Sims is going to be a tad bit longer, and I do trust Sims overall. His cardio is better. I think his wrestling it's going to be close. I wouldn't be surprised to see these guys try to shoot on each other. They both have decent takedown defense, but I think with Trujillo's fight IQ, you could see Sims ending up on top on the ground as well. And I think even if it does play out on the feet, if Sims doesn't get caught with that big bomb, I think he ends up actually knocking Trujillo out. So I just trust Sims a little bit more here. And stylistically, it's a great matchup for him. I mean, he's coming off, for both these guys really, because Trujillo is coming off a loss to Tibau, and he got submitted a questionable loss. I mean, that fight ended in some controversy because he didn't really tap, and the referee kind of ended it that way, thought it was a sub. Yeah. Trujillo was fine. And then at the same time for Sims, he got matched up with a grappler as well. So they both didn't really fare well against grapplers in their last matchup, but now you got two strikers going at it that want to strike. So I think it's going to be a heck of a fight as well. This is good matchmaking here, but I do trust Sims a little bit more. So even at this price here, I think there might be a little bit of value on Sims. You got to be careful because Trujillo can end anybody's night with one punch.
All right, so can I put you on the spot, Nick Kalikas, if you had to recommend one bet, a side or a total from these other 4 fights on the main card of UFC 195, which would it be?
Out of all of them, I would think because of the current price and it's almost a coin flip type of fight, I would probably lean a little bit more towards Sims because I do trust him a little bit more in Trujillo, like I said, and I think he probably does end up finishing this fight at some point, either on the ground with top position, possibly a sub, or like I said, on the feet, he's a little bit more accurate. I trust his chin a tad bit more. I would go with Sims here.
Thanks so much, Nick Kalikas, for all your thoughts on this.
Thank you.